Crochet cables perform the same function that knit cables do. It's a way of reordering the stitches to give your fabric a little crossover. So you can see we've got two crosses here, one right cross and one left cross. And these are done in post stitches. So front post and back post double crochet combine with rearranging the order of your stitches to form cables. Now, what do I mean by rearranging the order of your stitches? It means you're going to skip some stitches and then work in stitches afterwards, and then come back to the stitches that you skipped. So let me show you what I mean by that. I'm working on a 4-stitch cable, but this principle works no matter how many stitches your pattern tells you to work across. I'm going to skip these first 2 stitches, and I'm going to work in stitches 3 and 4 for my cable. So front post double crochet on stitch 3 and 4. So you can see in the order of stitches in this row that I'm creating, these two have become 1 and 2. Now I'm going to go back to the first and second stitch from the row below and front post around those. So I go back to the first stitch and do a front post double crochet, and then I'm going to go to that second stitch and front post double crochet. So these stitches have now become, if I pull on this a little bit, there's 1 and 2, we just did 3 and 4. And it's a little bit hard to see them in the row that you do them. Let me get the hook out of the way, because it looks just sort of like a bunch right here. But in the next row, on the way back, we'll do back post double crochet stitches that'll sort of even all of that out. Let me get to the end of the row here and I'll show you what I mean. So if you look down, the last time we did this cross right here, you can see that's that bunch right there, the actual twist, that's what we've just created. And you can see up above that where it all straightens out. Let me show you how to do that. So in the next row, you'll do back post double crochet stitches around those front posts that you just finished. So you'll work to where your cable is in your pattern, and then you'll work them in the new order. And again, I find it helpful to sort of pull the fabric a little bit so that I can identify them. So that's 2, 3, 4. So this is the first stitch here that I'm going to work the back post double crochet around. Ooh. And then the second one lives right next to that. There it is. And then the third one is here. Ooh. Sometimes it can be a little tricky to get around them. Just take your time with it. And if you split your stitch, don't worry about taking it out, trying it again. There it is. And then one more. And then I can finish my row. And then when we turn this over, you'll see that that twist that we created in the last row has resolved itself. And you can see the nice new order of those stitches. Now that's a left twist cable. To create a right twist cable, it's the same basic process. You're going to skip stitches and then go back and work into the skipped stitches. But instead of working in the front like we did here, we're going to work in the back. So that's a little bit trickier. So let's do a left twist cable that you can see down here. You're going to start by skipping the first 2 stitches and work over the next 2, or however many stitches your pattern tells you to skip. And now you've got to go back and work the ones that you skipped, but you've got to do that behind these. And that can be a little bit tricky. So for this one, I actually like to hold on to the loop on my hook so that it stays put, because I've got to come through from behind these stitches to go around the stitch that I skipped. See how kind of tricky that is? But just take your time with it. And then there's one more, there's that second one that we skipped that's right here that we've got to go around too. So again, I like to hold on to my yarn over, go behind stitches 1 and 2 so that I can grab that second one that we skipped, gently lift it up so that I can finish my front post double crochet. And then you can move on to the rest of the stitches in your row. So here on the back side, you'll do your back post double crochet to set that new order of stitches in place. And you can see there's 1 and 2 and then 3 and 4. And I find that it's funny, it's easier, oh, I got my stitches. It's easier to do a right twist cable on the front of the work and harder to do this row on the back. But for the left twist cables, it's harder to do the work on the front and it's actually easier to do the work on the back. So either way, there's one side of the cable that takes a little bit more time and it's just a little bit trickier, but they're both worth it once you've finished the work. I'm going to show you here and there. There's our right twist and our left twist, and you're ready to move on. So this works whether you have a 2-stitch cable or a 4-stitch cable or a 3-stitch cable where you're working 2 stitches over 1, but it's the same process no matter how many stitches you're working over. You're going to skip some stitches and then have to go back to them, and you'll either go back to them across the front of the stitches you've already made or behind the stitches you've already made.